time around?
Basic call, a simple call that, we've been running ever since the spring, and, it was just a call that, we just had to execute, like we did. It was wide open. I hit the hole, did what I was supposed to do, bounced it out. Seen that one-on-one guy, I just had to beat him like I was taught to. I beat him, and we scored. And, defense made, a great stop right before that, so that way, once we punch it in, it's ball game. And, that's what it was, so, yes, sir.
How frustrating was it in that first half to move the ball like you were moving the ball and come up empty-handed?
Honestly, I would just say, it's really not frustrating to me, because it's a team sport at the end of the day. I can't.
Well, yeah, I meant like the team.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
All pretty frustrated.
I'd probably say, yeah, of course, there was plays out there that you could have hit for much more yards, touchdowns. We had 3 opportunities to go out there and score, but we're gonna face a whole lot of just adversity. We just gotta go fight through it and just get better as a team. Yes, sir.
In overtime, when they dropped the ball and then they eventually you turned it over on downs there.
Yes, sir.
What did you think there before you got the ball? Did you think you were gonna get a chance to at least win the game there?
100%.
Yeah.
Second it happened, offense went out. We were just, we were honestly excited we got the opportunity to go out there to even score. The fact that they tried to. They tried to act like, they could stop us on defense without scoring on offense, We just had to, handle it to them, and, like we did, went out there and dominated and, came out here with the victory. Yes,
you had a lot of long runs tonight yourself. But how different for you was it tonight without Darrell and to not have that little
Honestly,
bit of a backup?
It hurts. Darrell, he's a great back. Ever since I got here, just watching him run, he does, a whole lot of moves that I do, basic spinning, just, he's a great football player. Him going down, last game, having 2 touchdowns. He's having a great game, and it's just like I said, adversity. It's gonna face us, and he's got to keep fighting, and just get better as a team. One by one, just keep executing.
What's up with all your spin moves there?
I just probably just say growing up playing the video game. It's just kind of like nature to me. I've just been playing football my entire life, so just just moves that I think of, and they just happen. Yes, sir.
Did you know you were going to be the workhorse tonight coming in? Is that the game plan?
I think that, every game, no matter what game it is, I don't care, when they need me, I'm going to be that workhorse. So, whenever they, give me that call to, go out there and be a dog and run the ball 12 times, I'm going to do it. So, yes, sir.
When you needed a breather, did you just call for it? Or Coach say, because you were in the game almost the whole game.
Yeah, there would be plays where, I know there was a play, I think the 3rd or 4th quarter, where I got hurt. Obviously I took myself out. But, there's a couple plays where, if I'm, going 8, 9 times, getting positive yardage, Coach is going to put Jamari in, which is another great back of ours, that, that will go there and, punch it in. And, he has heart too. So I just feel like, as a team overall, we're a good football team. We're still learning, week by week. But overall, I feel like, it's going to be a great football team. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mozes.